Hi, so I have been doing this website at my corporate website called joji.co, Joji Private Limited. So I've been doing this transmission trend research for the past week, and you can take a look here that all the information, all the trending. So how do I get the trend? Is that the graph, the monitoring actually starts at the point where a country hits 100 cases. So which is why you can get a very clear comparison, rather than because the first 1 to 100, sometimes the government did not even do the enough testing. Sometimes it's due to imported cases, so it's usually not very accurate. So when the moment you hit 100 cases, countries tend to get very serious about it, and which led us to come to talk about Singapore. So Singapore is going to do an enhanced measure tomorrow at 2359, then where we will limit crowds from 250 down all the way to just 10, and we'll be closing down the bars and pubs, and we'll do a lot of social distancing. And it is without doubt that things that we are definitely trending towards closing the city down, to lockdown, to like what I call the hard lockdown, where the schools will close, and probably that's what called DOSCON rate. And if you look at the trending line, so 2559631, as you can see, this line is pretty straight. So this straight means it's actually curving upwards. So if you take a look at, so if when I do change, let me change this vertical to, you can see, because okay, never mind. So this line will actually go to the next day, and then the next day. This line likely to trend in this way, and what that means is that we're gonna have 100 case a day within the next 3 days. That's what I think. So, and when the country do actually lock down, I do hope that the government will actually have much better measures than what is being done overseas, because I think a lot of the countries, they do have some decent measures, but I think it's not exactly complete. A lot of countries, especially in Europe, they are still dreaming about keeping the economy going. I'm not too sure what economy is there to go when the whole world is actually slowing down to a crawl due to the virus. So might as well we do the hard thing and we actually properly shut down, which means that we suspend everything for at least 1 month. Because why 1 month? Because if you look at the trend that is from China, typically if you look at the curve, by the time it's day 28, which is 4 weeks, everything tends to already straighten out. Those that are not is because of imported cases. So which means that a 4 weeks lockdown will work. And what I think Singapore need is to have a suspension of everything. So lockdown, not just that people stay at home, but we need a suspension of bills, rental, payments. Maybe the government need to absorb the water, the PUB cost, the electrical cost, and the companies do not need to pay rent. They don't need to pay payments for their equipments that they buy, maybe perhaps even insurance, I'm not sure. And importantly, also the salary, to relieve the companies from paying salary. So because the workers are not working, so this overhead of the worker salary should be suspended along with the lockdown. So 1 whole month literally is everything stopped. suspension. It's just like as if you press the pause button in the game, so that nothing is moving. Of course, those that are still dealing with essential services, supermarkets or food deliveries, yes, of course they can continue to get paid. So everyone else stay at home, and just like what Canada have done or USA has done is that the government should provide income, a payout, a one-time payout to all citizens. I'm not sure how much would be considered enough. Maybe one person 1,000. So it's actually for food and livelihood, for buying any supplies, whatever we need in this 1 month. And it shouldn't discriminate. It should be given to all Singaporeans. No such thing as because you're working so you don't get it. I think it's not fair. I think everyone should get it. So it's just, and then I think with a proper suspension, we will keep the economy from we will keep the small companies from bankrupting. We will actually properly solve this problem. All the corporations that are being shut down during this month can actually not incur a cost or not incur a loss, because everything is on pause, and the people do not lose much, because they do not need to pay their loans from the bank for the housing loan, the car loan. Everything is paused. So as everything is suspended, all they need is just to keep themselves alive and at home. So I think this is the right way to go. I think this is more comprehensive, and it protects the economy rather than praying that things can get well. I think most small and medium companies cannot survive a few months of broken business economy kind of environment. And this need to be government led, because only the government have the mandate to really mandate everyone and decree everyone to pause, to suspend everything, all bills payments. And any companies that go against this should get punished, because this is a national effort. I think we need to get all these things done just once, and do it well. So because there's a lot of community spreading lately, a lot of unknown cases, so I think it's more or less soon. I think the government is probably also planning the same thing, to lock down. So I hope that as we lock down, I hope that this message can go out to our ministers, so that at least this can be actually discussed and then be an option, so that we can protect our economy, protect all the small and medium enterprises, and give relief to everyone in Singapore. I think it's a small cost to pay. Yes, it's going to be expensive, but no, it's not as expensive as we drag along, and then you have a lot of company bankrupting and closing down because of this virus situation. I think the economy is poor enough. With this virus, is making it worse, and I think that it's unfair to continue to expect the small companies to continue to bear the overheads. And this is something that I think the government can do, especially on the election year. I think this is one very good suggestion from me, to really do a suspension of things, really suspend everything, so that as an individual myself, I do not need to worry about my bills, water, electricity, housing, car loans, everything. I don't need to worry about not having a job, not having salary. Similarly, as a business owner, I do not need to worry about my business, my employee's salary, because I know the government is going to cover that. And then anyway, the worker is not going to be working because it's going to be a lockdown. So and then I don't need to worry about rental. So everything is suspended, and then for the big corporations, especially those real estate property owners, since they are not going to incur any cost, because on the government side, they should also suspend any form of requirement for the developers or the real estate owners to pay any form of payment, because it's going to be suspended as well, so that in that 1 month everything is just pause, and then we will continue the month later. So that I understand there will be a lot of lobbying by the top guys, from those real estate magnates or whoever, shopping mall owners, like CapitaLand or whoever, but they will not have a reason, because everything is suspended. There is no overhead for that month. There is no expectations for them to be collecting rent. So I think this is the best policy, and only the government can do it. I hope the government can take consideration of this suggestion, because there's no point doing small measures. Let's do it once and for all. Look at China, 1 day to day 28, straight line. This is incredible. Yes, they are doing ridiculous draconian lockdown, but it works, and I hope that Singapore can come out of the gates from the recovery of the COVID-19 ready, so that when, as the world slowly, eventually we will get out of it, we are at least be one of the first to be ready to chiong. We need to be ready, because we are Singapore. So China is already going to be benefiting from this situation. I'm not sure. You're looking at this curve, they're going to have some form of second wave, but that's not our problem. We need to deal with our own situation. We need to deal with this, and then all the border policies I think we should keep for at least the next half a year, until everything overseas is done. And then I think traveling should only be limited to countries that are like us. Eventually, when we solve all the cases, when we have 0 new cases, then we should be traveling and allow people to travel to those countries. I'm not sure what more I can say, but importantly, I come back to the same thing. If we do a lockdown, I hope that the government can come up with a better policy, and I do suggest that we do suspend everything. So hopefully someone will hear this. I'm going to be posting this on my social media outlet, and I'm also going to be putting this on Twitter, and yep. So good luck everyone. Yep. SG United.